CivilWarLand in Bad Decline by George Saunders. Categorized dark comedy, dystopian satire. 7 stories rampaging along as though carried together by the runaway handcart from hell. Fast moving and quite mad. Nonetheless, these tales prove that sentience is indeed possible amongst humans, and, while undoubtedly rare and probably fleeting, that at least for a time George Saunders must have possessed it. His vision is a world of burning mules, dilapidated theme parks and perspex-sided living cows. The humans therein do what they do, at least for a while. In this book, the few good characters we encounter are all, at best, low-flying. Worse than that, all of them are on a downward trajectory, a descent towards inevitable destruction, brought on by bad luck, bad genes, bad timing. There are just so many ways to fail in this desperate land of nightmares. The land the USA would become in a once future vision. If you stop running on the treadmill, one character tells us, then you lose all you have worked for. That'll be running on a treadmill, presumably. Escape from nationwide economic collapse tends to manifest itself in obtaining employment inside the last remaining centres of civilization, theme parks and museums. Declining and harassed by teen gangs, slavers and desperate survivalists, a sense of normality is maintained within these fake versions of a past that probably never even existed, at least not as imagined by the management. As America has far less history than, say, Europe, then work is always in short supply. Those fortunate few employed within do so without workers' rights, little in the way of a salary, and any idea of job satisfaction long since extinguished. Only performance management and ever-present death focus the mind. Well, for as long as one can last, that is. Modest about his talent, Saunders once said, any originality he might claim is just a result of his odd background. It's just me working inefficiently with flawed tools in a mode I don't have sufficient background to understand, he said. Like if you put a welder to designing dresses. In real life, after becoming a father, he began to realise the fragility of human civilization and the coldness people have towards each other. It was as if I had been driving along a highway littered with broken down cars, blithely unconcerned, he said, when I heard a clunk from under my own hood. Mocking political correctness, management speak, and seemingly delighting in the grotesque, Saunders' tales ask you puny humans, why is this world so harsh to those who are losing? He highlights countless rationalizations humanity makes to gloss over difficult truths and moral depravity, none more so than in the novella contained, in which so-called flawed are dehumanized and punished for their imperfections, being reduced to slavery in many bizarre forms by the righteous normals, as though being forced to drink from mutagenic wells was their parents' choice. Ludicrous, and of course, no civilized person today would blame the disabled for their plight, would they? But he shows us, even where rational explanations exist, the water is poison for pity's sake. Still, the righteous will always run with the power they can obtain by reducing others to object. The whole book rages with carnivalesque wit and energy. Placing a story in a theme park, the author said, allowed him to release the comic whilst not, as a writer, collapsing under the weight of the material. Take the eponymous opener for example, CivilWarLand in Bad Decline. An absurd parody of a theme park, fighting financial failure while simultaneously enduring gangs of roving, tooled-up teenage vandals. They terrorise the staff. The management, at a loss for what to do, employ a mentally disturbed war veteran to sort it out. This he does, but in ways nobody anticipated. The body count soars. Meanwhile, ghosts of real Civil War veterans and their families reveal themselves to the manager and torture his conscience. It cannot end well, and indeed, the narrative does not disappoint. As Saunders says about God, having placed his flawed and needy children in a world of exacting specifications, God deducts the difference between what we have and what we need from our hearts, our self-esteem and our mental health. Well said, George. And if he's anything like you, he has a bloody good laugh doing it. CivilWarLand in bad decline. Theme park authorial genius. Highly recommended.